I am Apostle Nona Ray.
And I'm Apostle Glenda Ray.
And we are God's Girls, keeping it real.
Well, hello. Welcome to another broadcast of God's Girls, Keeping It Real. I'm Apostle Glenda Ray.
And I'm Apostle Nona Ray.
And we are God's Girls, Keeping It Real. So we are excited about the broadcast that we have showing this evening. We've got some really special guests with us tonight. And we've designated all of the month of October to push out information regarding election, regarding politics, regarding campaigning, and giving individuals, you the viewers, as to who to vote for, what kinds of things are on the agenda. This election, and I've said it before, that it is entrenched with so many different things, and we are adamant about turning this thing around. Absolutely. Because if we don't, there's just so much that's riding on this election. And so tonight we're going to be talking to a couple of ladies who are actually candidates that are running for particular seats within this election coming up. And I'm going to be honing in a lot on the educational factor.
Yes.
We understand that this whole thing, and we've done it on the broadcast several times, giving information about things that are happening within the school system, the indoctrination of our children, them being able to come out, not being able to read and write, and all of this other stuff. So
we want to ask you to go ahead and share now. Just go ahead and share the broadcast. Let people know that we're on. For those of you that are in the Will County area, listen, you want to send this out and make sure that people are tapping in and just kind of hear what's going on. I can say this, that the issues that we are facing here in Will County is not foreign to the rest of the country. So for those of you that are outside of Will County, outside of the state of Illinois, listen, if they haven't come, they're coming to a city near you.
Wow.
I can tell you that right now. And so we are really happy to have these ladies with us. And I think that they're just going to help you to understand how pivotal our times are.
Yeah.
And why it's really important that you go out and you vote in November. You got to get to the polls. You just got to get to the polls and make a difference.
Yes.
So with that being said, I guess we need to introduce our guests.
Yes.
So that we can make sure we give them the time they need to talk.
Yes, absolutely. So to my left, we have this beautiful woman here, Dr. Elizabeth Ruff. She's a candidate for superintendent of education role.
Yes.
Regional office education.
Yes, my name's Dr. Elizabeth Caparelli-Ruff, and I'm running for the Will County Regional Office of Education Superintendent of Schools.
Yes.
And to my right, we have Katie Dean. Now help me, Schlottman.
Ooh, you got it right.
Got it right.
Yes.
Katie Dean-Schlottman, and she is actually running for a county board seat.
Yes,
Yes.
just as Glenda is. Yes, I'm running for Will County Board in District 1.
Yes. And so she and Apostle Glenda are going to be sitting across the desk from each other.
Legislating.
Yeah,
Together.
legislating.
Together.
Shutting stuff
Yes,
down.
yes. Getting
There you
stuff
go.
done together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
We welcome you. So we just have some real average questions for you.
Sure.
First of all, for each one of you, why did you choose to run?
Well, I was asked to run,
Okay.
and I feel that sometimes God puts you in a place where you are about to serve and have to serve, and I feel that I've been called to serve, and so some things have been weighing on my heart, and when I see the state of education currently, I feel that we need to make some drastic changes.
Mhm.
And I've been in public, private, and collegiate education for the last 23 years. And so, having said that, I've seen some changes that I, as a parent, would not want my child interacting with in school.
Absolutely. Now, you guys did hear her say God, right? We keep telling you all that God's got people that He is lining up to put in these seats of authority. The thing is, if you don't cooperate with us and with God and go out and cast your vote for them, then guess what? They won't make it in the seat.
Yeah.
Because, well, like we said before, God is not a Democrat, He's not a Republican, and He's not a voter. Okay, He has not registered to vote in our world.
Yes.
So He's not a voter, and we can't just leave it to God to put who He thinks He wants. That's your job.
Mhm.
And so I just thank God that, He's raising up people that
Yeah.
they love God.
Yeah.
We're not talking denominations here.
Right.
We're just talking about people who love God and
Mhm.
who want to do righteously.
Yeah.
So, all right. So
Yeah.
it's your turn, Katie.
Okay, well, again, I'm Katie Dean-Schlottman, running for County Board 1. And for me, it came down to I felt like a calling again. Over the last 2 years, watching what went on in the schools with my children and them struggling through the being at home and doing things online, we found a great school that my kids go to that I actually teach at now. It's called Families of Faith in Shanahan.
Okay.
And
Familiar with it?
yes, I am. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
great
yeah,
school.
yeah.
I teach fifth grade there. I love it. But I was there thinking, all these levels of government, and I feel like everybody keeps focusing on the top branches,
Mhm.
everything at the top, how they're fixing this is where everything happens. And as all this time went on, I had time at home with my children
Mhm.
because I stayed home with them during this. I realized it starts at the bottom
Absolutely.
of government.
Sure.
And everything that we do and where our tax dollars are being funded in at the very bottom levels of government
Mhm.
are affecting our children
Yes.
and throughout. And I looked online to see, okay, so who's going to be running this cycle? And at the time, there hadn't been anyone who pulled a petition for my district.
Okay.
Okay.
And I just felt that in me, hey, no one
Let's
pulled
do
it.
Yeah.
It's you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there we are.
Yeah.
That's
I'm a
wonderful.
firm believer that if we're not going to do something about it, we really can't even talk about it.
Correct.
That's right.
So it's
Can't
like
complain.
we either have to put up or shut up.
Mhm.
And
You
I
know?
felt the same way.
Yeah. So in your district, tell us a little bit about some of the things, and I know, but for the viewers,
Sure, absolutely.
some of the things that because I'm understanding that 60% in Will County of our tax dollars
Goes
go
to
to
education.
education.
Yep.
And so when we have that type of money going in, and we know Will County has one of the highest tax rates,
In the
property
state.
tax around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so with all of those dollars funneling into education, but yet our children are not getting the education that they need. As I said earlier, many of them come out, they can't read, they can't write, and they pass them on, they graduate them on. And then they are indoctrinating them with agendas that the parents are not
Aware of.
okay
Mhm.
with,
Or
but
aware.
yet
Aware.
get shut out
Mhm.
and absolutely, and are not even made aware as to what can take place. So, as board members, um, what are some of the things that we can do once we take these seats that can kind of help
Well, for starters,
alleviate
yeah,
some of
for
that?
starters, we cannot keep putting the burden back on the taxpayers by
Mhm.
raising taxes anymore. I mean,
Right,
I'm sure,
right.
as all of you know, going out there, people are struggling,
Mhm.
whether
Yeah.
it be due to inflation or higher tax bills, and they just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And with our underperforming schools,
Mhm.
that's not something that we can allow. So we have to stop raising taxes right
Mhm.
there.
Absolutely.
And then I believe that since we are taking all of this money, putting into the schools, I believe it's time that we start saying that there needs to be resolutions toward seeing what is going on in the schools.
Mhm.
What exactly are we funding with this
Right,
curriculum?
right,
Mhm.
What is going on?
right.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about things like CRT and
Mhm.
SEL,
Mhm.
Mhm.
a rose of any other name is still
Yeah.
a rose.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
are watering down something,
Yeah.
it still has a toxic poison in it.
Absolutely.
And so we need to start pulling apart these curriculums
Mhm.
and asking, hey, this is where those people's money is going.
Mhm.
I believe it's time you let them see exactly what you are teaching their children.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things too is there's been talk about, and I believe it has to come down from the state level,
Yeah.
by which if our children are not in the public school, but yet our tax dollars, we're still paying taxes into the public schools, then why can't we take those monies? Why
And
can't
push it
those
somewhere
monies
else.
follow our kids,
Which would be
wherever they're
great for
going?
a lot of these people who have left public school.
Yes.
And then they're sending their kids to private schools,
Mhm.
and they have left for those reasons. And what about people who, say they're older, they're grandparents,
Right.
and they're like, well, this is not the education
Mhm.
and they're already struggling.
Right.
They're on fixed incomes.
Mhm.
So absolutely, that's something we need to focus
Yeah,
on. And
yeah.
it has happened in other places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, I heard in your intro you were just saying that, you've been 20 plus years working collegiate level. I think high school you said, or
Yes.
yeah, and I'm sure elementary school as well. So being in the game that long, I'm sure you've seen a lot of the changes. Even though they've been a little slow, they're definitely changes that seem to be going in the wrong direction
Yes.
as it relates to education. And so I don't mean to put you out on a limb or have you saying anything that's going to make anybody mad. But one of the things that Apostle Glenda and I do on this broadcast is we sound the alarms about things that are happening, such as the sex education standard, the Common Core. Yeah, I know. It just makes you just want to just go to bed
Yeah.
anyway. Common Core and critical race theory and all of those things that are pushing in. And I think that parents at this point are still a little skeptical as to whether or not it's true.
So, Senate Bill 818 is
Mhm.
a very scary bill that came out. Katie actually brought to our event last night the
Yeah.
book of what this Common Core standardized education is for this Senate bill,
Sure.
and it looked like porn, is what it
Oh,
looked
yeah.
like.
Well,
If
yeah.
I would
And-
bring that into a job site, I would be cited as bringing in something offensive.
I'm so sure. Yeah.
So
I'm so
how
sure.
can we? And it was for children 10 and up.
Mhm.
10.
Yeah, and when we were going to school in 6th grade, they would bring us to the Robert Crown Center, and they would have a very formalized scientific approach to this is what happens with young ladies, and this is
Right.
what happens with young men,
And
it was structured.
the
Sure.
boys and the
13
girls
and
were
on.
separated.
Yes.
Mhm.
So for that uncomfortableness, and we had to have parental consent.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Parental
The parents had the
consent.
option as to whether or not they wanted their children to even be involved in that.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
that's what concerns me is the lack of transparency.
Yeah.
Because why are we getting books from other outlets and we're not, as parents, saying, this is what is okay for my child to see? I think that academics needs to take place in the schools and morality needs to come from the home.
At home.
100%.
And that is what I believe. And I think that the lack of wanting to share with that transparency is what concerns me the most. Like, what are we hiding here?
What's the
Right.
agenda?
What is the agenda?
What-
And it is a hiding, and we know that
Correct.
it's a hiding. And I want parents to hear that, not just from us, but from those that are like yourselves that are in this. I know you work at a Christian school as well, or a private school.
Yes.
It is a Christian.
It is a
school,
Christian school as well.
but
Yes.
and it is one of the schools that we promote raising up in regions and cities because it doesn't have that state touch and involvement in it.
Right.
We have to be able to do this. I mean, we have one right here in our own the kingdom right here. Okay. And so I don't want to say church because it's really not our church that
Right.
sponsors it.
Right.
We have a center, community center that is faith-based, that is the umbrella for the school. And so it is so important. And I think that parents need to hear from you guys that there are things that are going on that they're not aware of. And I would not be surprised if there is some kind of subliminal things being said to almost not tell the children, this is what we're doing at school. It's just school stuff,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
But
to
go
some
ahead.
degree, there is that. I have 2 students still in public school, And last year, my son was struggling with science, and I wanted him to bring home his stuff. And he's like, I can't bring home that binder. How are we supposed to study for your test if you can't bring home that binder? How am I supposed to help you? And he's like, well, my teacher said it has to stay there. So I had to go through a process to get it. Now, eventually they said he could, but it was the fact that this is schoolwork.
Right.
This comes
Right.
home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Nope, I want to see everything.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how
And
I want to feel about
there
it.
seems to be no adjustments in the standards to help our children to read, but we certainly have a standard to help them masturbate. I mean, come on.
That's
Come on.
right.
That's
Right.
what we're doing.
Yeah.
And
That's
to
what
now
it is.
accept
Yeah.
if a boy comes to school and decides,
He's a girl.
I'm a girl today. I mean, I have a 7-year-old, and
Mhm.
sometimes she pretends she's a unicorn.
Exactly.
Is she a unicorn? No. She's a little girl pretending.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if these kids are playing around and not understanding their own development the way God intended us to develop, because
Right.
God makes no mistakes. We are created the way He
Absolutely.
created us.
Absolutely.
We are doing them no service.
Right.
Exactly.
We are doing them no service, because what kind of damage is going to be done to them psychologically as they grow up?
Mhm.
You know, you're talking about a 12, 13-year-old child, and at 22, they're going to be so confused
Mhm.
and so traumatized. I feel they'll have PTSD and all
Sure.
sorts of
Yeah.
other things, and not a sense of self,
Right.
because they were taught to already go against what
Mhm.
they were to begin with,
What the
what God intended.
identity,
Right, they're
true
right,
identity
what you
is.
truly are. So, I mean, that's something that they can now ask kids in
Yeah.
school: are you a boy or girl, or are you
Yeah.
not?
Even as far as bringing litter boxes
Yes.
into the classroom, because some of these kids are identifying as cats.
Yes.
Furries, I believe, is the term now.
Furries. Yeah.
Furries.
I mean,
It's frightening times.
where
Truly.
Yes.
where does this thing end? I mean, we see where we are, and we didn't get here just overnight. What
No.
we're seeing manifested now is not something that just popped up this year.
No.
This has been a work in progress for years.
And when you're talking about watching the curriculum change over time,
Mhm.
it completely has.
Yeah.
Because as a teacher, even as my children were younger, when I decided to go back slowly, I was subbing in the public school district. So I subbed for several in the Will County School
Okay.
District. And that's where I saw SEL. And that's where I saw some of the stuff with Common Core. I thought, okay, yeah, I went and I could teach math, and I came in and I'm like,
What is this?
what am I going to be teaching them today?
Right.
Like, this is, I had to like reteach myself in there really quick. And then sometimes I'd be like, guys, this is, you would see the frustration on their faces.
Yeah.
I'd be like, time out. There's a
Yeah.
much easier way to do this. And if
Right.
it was good enough for Einstein, it was good enough for me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's true.
And the frustration, though, with so many teachers now isn't just, the change in curriculum, it's all the testing.
Yes.
And, let the teachers teach, let the kids learn.
Mhm.
And I understand doing benchmark testing at the
I
beginning,
do.
perhaps, some testing midway, and then obviously testing at the end so that we see the growth.
Right.
However, when we're just teaching to the test and we're just
Mhm.
constantly worried about that next assessment,
Mhm. Yeah.
we are taking the love of learning away from kids.
Yeah.
And we're just testing. And that just can't keep going on.
Right. Right.
So what's driving that? Why all of the testing?
Funding is one.
Funding, I believe.
Funding
yeah,
is
these
one.
schools want their funding.
Yes, and I know the teacher evaluation.
Mhm.
That's another key. But truly, teachers did not get into teaching so that they could just teach to the test.
No.
Right.
They are subject matter experts,
Right.
and if they dream to become a math teacher, or science teacher, or social studies teacher,
Mhm.
and now they're forced to start teaching all the
This garbage. That's
the CRT
inserted.
and the Senate Bill 818, they're getting away from the whole reason they got into
Mhm.
teaching.
Mhm.
And teachers don't want to do that.
No.
So are
They
you
really
finding that?
don't.
Are you finding that some teachers are opting out
Yes.
because of that?
I think some teachers have left, and not some, great numbers of
Numbers.
teachers
Okay.
have left
Okay.
in mass exodus and have decided to homeschool, have decided to go into different businesses,
Mhm.
and have decided to go and teach at the Christian schools. And they've done that because they don't want to do this
Mhm.
anymore.
Mhm.
So when you talk about a teacher shortage of 380,000, 400,000 teachers nationwide,
Yeah.
the numbers aren't lying.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not all of a sudden they woke up and said, I don't want to teach anymore.
Right.
That amount of teachers.
No.
It's because there's a different agenda.
Mhm.
Mhm.
teachers
And-
are good people. They
Yes.
just want to do what they went to school to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when we were going to school.
Exactly.
Correct. Right.
You know, last week the principal of our school went to a meeting, a breakfast that one of the county districts held, and she went. Of course, she is the principal of our school, but she also has, decades of time as a public school teacher. She retired out, done with that. Now she principals our school, and she went to the breakfast, and it was for clergy. Okay, they actually held, and now it's weird because you don't want prayer in school, you don't want Bibles in school, you don't want to teach kids about God, you don't want them to have God, but you want to have a breakfast for the clergy to come in to convince them to come and help them in the public schools.
That's
That is
interesting.
Isn't that
interesting.
interesting?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they literally did a breakfast saying, "Can you help us by shoveling some of the people from your church into the public school?"
Oh,
Mm.
okay. So that's what they want.
Yes.
And I'm
So
like,
Yeah.
so you guys are wanting Christians back in the school again, huh?
No, they don't want the Christian
They want to
doctrine.
see,
they want
They just want,
just
want
give
the
us your
numbers.
kids so that
That's-
we
they
can
want
it's
indoctrinate
numbers.
we want
them.
your
It's
kids,
numbers.
yeah,
yeah,
and we want
Mhm.
your temperance, because let's face
Yes.
it, Christian people are very temperate people,
Mhm.
and they don't quit.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. They
well,
don't quit.
and it's also a numbers game. And what I mean by that is the number of students, let's say in Joliet,
Mhm.
that appear on day one of the school year. That's the amount of funding
They get
that
for the year.
that district gets.
Okay.
So they're urging, come to school, come to
Yeah.
school,
Sure.
come to
Yeah.
school. It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure that's not the entire spirit of
No, but
Joliet School District, but
Mhm.
that is a fact. It is
Yeah.
a numbers game
And
with all school districts.
the fact that now the numbers from 2 years ago are no longer going to be used, there has been exodus from the schools.
Yeah.
So they are going to lose some funding.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
I think the last research article I saw, 2.5 million students have left the public
school
schools
system.
to be homeschooled, Christian schooled, some other form of education.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
glory
Those
to
numbers-
God.
Well,
Yes,
right, right.
yes.
So our prayers are working.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
because we understand that trying to reform that system,
Yeah.
I think we've passed the point of no return.
I believe you're right.
Yeah,
I
and
hope not.
I
because
mean, I would
don't
like-
give up. I hope you're wrong.
I get you.
I would
And
like to
listen,
see- yeah.
If God's got you in there, you keep on plowing.
Yeah.
But I think that we always need to have a plan B.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm looking at the research, and I'm thinking that parents are going to eventually start pulling their kids out of public school and put them in the homeschool. What we don't want to do, or Christian school, but what we don't want to do is replicate that same thing in the Christian schools.
Right.
And so we have to be very strategic, I think, in raising up these school pods, if you will, to educate our kids. And unfortunately, as much as we need the resources and the money and the support that the state could give us,
We can't take
we
it.
can't take it because it comes with too many
Strings,
risks and
yeah.
too many strings
Mhm.
attached.
Mhm.
And it's sad because again, you work for a Christian school. We have our homeschool academy right here, and it has to be tuition based, and yet the parents don't get to take their tax dollars
And
And
use
apply
it.
them. Yes.
Yeah, to use it for their tuition.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Doesn't
they
seem
do
fair.
get
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they get a little bit of a incentive at the end of the year when they file their taxes, but that's about
I was
it.
going to say, yeah, and it's not a
It's-
lot.
That's not a
Yeah.
lot.
It's not.
It's not a
no,
lot at
it's
all.
not.
Mhm.
And so, as folks that are running for offices, let me ask both of you: is there any consideration from you to help to kind of push that a little bit? I don't know, even if you're in a posture or position where
I would.
you could speak to that. I know you probably can't. 'Cause
No.
you work for them.
You see, I'm being
You know,
quiet.
Yes.
but you could. You
Yes.
could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And do you agree? Let me ask you that as one. I mean, we're not trying to take food out of your mouth, but at
No,
the
no,
same
no,
time,
no. Because what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong.
Yeah.
So that's no food out of my mouth. God
Yeah.
always provides. I
Yeah.
believe that.
Yes.
He feeds the birds. Why wouldn't he feed me?
come
right?
on, I
Correct.
agree.
There you go.
So let me say this. My children, my biological children,
Mhm.
they went to public school in Homer Glen from the time they were in kindergarten till 8th grade.
Mhm.
They went to private high schools So we felt the same pain paying a big tax bill
Sure.
and then paying a very
Sure.
large tuition bill
Tuition bill.
to Joliet Catholic and
Yeah.
Montini Catholic. Now it was worth every dime.
Mhm.
It was worth every dime. And that was a personal choice. But it would have surely been nice to have some of my tax money to be able to pay for that.
Yeah.
Because to the tune of about $60,000
Wow.
over
Yes.
4 years, that was a struggle. But we made it happen
Yeah.
for 2 children.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what about these parents that
Who can't afford that?
can't do
It's
that
just not in
or
their.
have more children than 2
Yes.
children?
Sure.
It's just
Yeah.
not in their budget.
Yeah.
They can't do it.
Yeah. So I want to back up a little bit. Regional superintendent, what does that entail, and
Sure.
what kind of duties and responsibilities come along with that office?
Yeah, excellent question, because not a whole lot of people
No.
know.
Yeah.
So there's 29 school districts in Will County, along with some SOIC, I believe, is part of it,
Okay.
and Freedom School. It is an emotional disorder program. And so there's more than just 29 school districts. There's a couple of other schools in there,
Okay.
and 4 of them, I believe. And so what it entails is life safety across the entire county. So making sure that, everything is up to code. The fire marshal has come in and has approved all the buildings, and it's absolutely safe for the students and teachers to be there. And then teacher certifications, making
Okay.
sure that, all the teachers and all of the related services are credentialed and can be with the students in the public schools.
Okay.
Ensuring that, we're recruiting, substitute teaching bus drivers, and doing all that kind of thing.
Wow. So
Yes.
it's very widespread.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Mhm.
Yes.
And so it's a one person job,
Yes.
one person position.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
you are for it. All across Will County, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All 800 and some odd miles of
So
it.
now
yes.
the incumbent that's in there, is he an incumbent that's in
He
there
is the
now?
incumbent, and he is the incumbent, and all of Will County has not had a choice for the last decade or so.
Oh, wow.
So now you have a choice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hey.
So,
Choice.
100%.
Okay.
And we realize, we recognize that not everybody would be able to take their kid. I don't even know that that's feasible.
Yes.
It's for everybody. We don't need to stop trying to bring the change in the public schools, but to have people who think righteously,
Yes.
because I think that's the problem. We just have people that just don't think righteously, and are not willing to advocate for the right things in public school. I mean, I'm a public school kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
I went 1 year in Catholic school, and I came out of there and I wanted to be a nun.
That's why you're an apostle, right?
I did. I came home and told my parents I want to be a nun. But what I was drawn to was just that righteousness.
Yes.
I was a kid. I was 10 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
So I went that 1 year. But we got a lot of kids in public school.
But wouldn't it be wonderful if this whole fallout of teachers pushed forth a narrative that says, hey, we need to look at this and we need to do something different.
It is. I
And,
agree.
Could that be the catalyst that could really get them to looking to see if this kind of pushback is coming, and if there's that much, almost like a boycott is basically what it is.
And I agree with that 100%. And almost, if you think about it, when you kid your kids in social studies or whatever, they are watching CNN 10 is the preferred news that the kids watch. It's 10 minutes of CNN news every day.
Wow.
And they can say it's geared towards children, but let's be honest, I don't trust anything from
Yeah.
CNN.
Well, that's a part of the indoctrination.
Right. So
Absolutely.
let's start
Yeah.
it slow. Let's do it a little bit.
Mhm.
And teachers see this.
Yeah.
Like you said, they're good people.
Yeah.
They went into this with the idea that we are going to educate children and they are going to become, we all have this dream as a teacher that I'm going to know the kid that's a great leader one day.
Yeah,
I knew them when,
The presidents.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what you want as a teacher,
Yeah.
to see the growth and the development and the success of students,
Yeah.
not the breakdown of them. And you want to build them up. And you want to be able, if they're having a bad day, I want to be able to walk up to my student and be like, I want to pray with you.
Right.
Yeah.
We're going
Right.
to get through this
Right.
and not be worried about being fired from my
Yeah,
job.
Right.
Exactly.
Because you can't pray with the kids at
Mhm,
school because
mhm.
I'm indoctrinating them that way, but
Yeah,
I can give
yeah.
them this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so I do think that there could be enough teachers out there
Mhm.
that we could try to do that
Yeah.
and group together and say, let's push
Let's
back on
start a
this.
movement.
Katie, I believe it's fear. So many teachers
They are afraid.
have approached me and they don't want to go against any administrator. And unfortunately, they're saying, I need my job.
And
I'm a single parent, or, I have a kid in college, or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
And they are living in fear. But I believe there's power in numbers.
Yes.
And if
Yes.
enough teachers got together,
Absolutely.
I believe they can have a powerful movement.
Yes.
I do too.
One, they don't have to just keep following the same narrative.
Mhm.
They are bright, energetic
Wow.
souls.
Yes.
And I believe they can come together,
Yeah.
and I believe they can do great things and say, we are against this. Let us just teach.
Right.
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 Let us build these children
mathematics,
up.
English,
Right.
Yes.
social
Yes.
studies, science.
Yes.
Let's get back to common sense
Yeah.
education.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that is truly what needs
Yeah.
to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
See,
Yeah.
That's why we need you in office.
That's right.
Right.
Amen.
Amen.
we can
That's why
reach
we
right
need
now.
you. We
Right.
need you in that seat.
We're
So
coming up
thank
on
you.
the end of our broadcast, but I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about the school that you are establishing and the things that are right here in our city.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yes.
can't wait
This
to
is
partner-
amazing.
We're gonna partner with her. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotta
Well,
be doing
thank
it.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. I happened to find two partners that believed in my vision. And several years ago, I was a principal of an all autistic therapeutic day school. I helped to raise funds to take them out of a strip mall and put them in a very large space that they're currently in. And I thought, this is something that one day I'd like to do, only better. And the thing that I want to do better is I've seen so many divorces happen from having a child with special needs. And I thought, my cousin is severe and profound autistic,
Okay.
nonverbal, pica eating disorder. And, that caused a divorce in our family.
Okay.
And so having said that, I want to provide social work or some sort of counseling service above and beyond just the students going to school. So one day I want to open my own school where we can do that. We can offer it. Parents can say no,
Mhm.
they can opt out, but we want to offer that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so the state believed in the vision. They read my 32-page program description, just approved the school. And, I'm very excited about that. I'm very passionate about that. But we can help 80 or so students in one school, or we can help all of Will County. I feel that we could do both.
That is
Yes.
awesome.
I feel that
That
we
is
could
awesome.
do both because I have great leaders in place ready to take this on. I have great teachers in mind. I'm wanting to steal some other great teachers. You know who I'm talking
I
about.
do. Yes.
And I feel that, and the school is very close. You
Yeah.
know it.
It is,
What's
yeah.
the name of your school?
Forte Academy.
Forte Academy.
Because
Wow.
every child, Forte in Italian means strength.
Okay.
Every child has strengths. We need to meet them where they're at and bridge the gap to the greatest of that
so
student's
great.
possibility.
That is absolutely
And
great.
we can
Autism
do it.
doesn't have to stop our kids.
it does
No,
not.
it does
Yeah,
not.
That's great.
It does
That
not.
is great. Wow, this has been so good, ladies. I am just so blessed for you all to have come and spent just this half an hour with us talking to our audience and helping us all to understand how important and critical
Yes.
things are right now. We need to get people out to vote. And
Yeah.
Yes.
if we can inform them as to what the issues are, hopefully we can incite enough excitement in them
Sure.
to say, I got to go and help to change things.
Yeah.
Well, you've got me excited.
Yes. I know. I was going
We
to say.
all need to post this on all of our
Yes.
Facebooks.
Yes.
And you two have been amazing. Thank you so much.
Yes,
for
I really
having us.
appreciate
Sure.
Thank you.
being here with
Thank
you.
for coming.
Yeah. Even as we are embarking upon taking these seats, it is so critical, again, that you get out to the polls, that you vote. If you want to see something different, then you have to do something different.
Yes, indeed.
If you're tired of the same old, if you're tired of what you've been seeing, let's make a difference. And so
Yes.
as we take these seats, believers, one is those that desire to give God a voice and to
Yes.
give him access,
Mhm.
to give him the authority, to be the voice for the people. We can get strategies. God will give us
Yes.
strategies
Yes.
as we
He
pray,
will.
as we put our minds together, and he can show us how to turn this thing around.
And I think
I'm
with
with
confident
this
of that.
election cycle, there are so many candidates who are first-time candidates.
Yeah.
I am. Elizabeth is.
Yeah.
You are.
Mhm.
We have never done this before. This was never something that we saw ourselves called to do, except, like I said, over the last few years, it has woken up so
Mhm.
many people. We are
Yeah.
not woke. We are awake.
Yes.
And Christ
Yes.
made that happen. And so here we are, and we
Yeah.
are ready to take that on.
Absolutely.
And whatever we do, we will do for his glory.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know, I
That's
believe
good.
there was a clarion call from God that went out
I
and summoned individuals like you, like myself, like Dr. Ruff here, and others that are
Yes.
saying, okay, this is your assignment. Work the assignment.
Yeah.
This is what
That's
we're
it.
doing.
Yes, ma'am.
We are on assignment right now, and we cannot allow God to fail in the assignment that he has placed in our hands.
Absolutely.
We're going to keep on going, and keep
Yes.
it moving and keep pushing. We will not be silent.
Nope.
Yep.
No,
It is
no,
time
ma'am.
to
People
cry
Amen.
out
worried.
and
Let me
speak.
tell you, we
Yeah.
have people worried.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
they try to silence you, you know
Mhm.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
we need
Yeah.
to keep
Wow.
going.
Going.
And
Yes.
25 days and counting. ladies.
Yes,
We're
absolutely.
coming up on it. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in today. It has been a good broadcast. We'll be back next week and we'll have some other guests for you. We're going to keep this going all month. And until that time, I'm Apostle Nona Ray.
And I'm Apostle Glenda Ray,
And
and
we
we
are
are God's girls,
keeping it real. Have a good weekend.
We'll see you on the next time.
I am Apostle Nona Ray,
And I'm Apostle Glenda Ray,
and we are God's girls, keeping it real.